The United States has ordered an end to all federal funding to South Africa. This follows an executive order signed last month by US President Donald Trump, who's repeated his false claim that the government was confiscating white farmers' land.
He's done it again approximately 1 month after Donald Trump issued an executive order offering refugee status to South African Afrikaners who were suffering from unjust racial discrimination. He strikes again, this time not with a policy, not with an executive order, but with another Truth Social truth, or tweet if you prefer to call it that.
We are not the puppets of the USA. We will never be bullied by Donald Trump and his friends. South Africa remains an independent state, which is not handled by the USA.
On March 7, 2025, former U.S. President Donald Trump sent shockwaves through the international community. In a move that caught many off guard, Trump made a significant announcement that would have far-reaching implications. He announced that the United States would be ceasing all federal funding to South Africa. This decision was not only unexpected, but also unprecedented, given the long-standing relationship between the two nations. This unexpected declaration was made on his social media platform, Truth Social. The platform, known for its unfiltered and direct communication style, was the perfect medium for Trump to deliver such a bombshell. Trump cited unspecified concerns about South Africa's policies and stability as the reason for the drastic move. He mentioned that the current administration in South Africa was not aligning with what he termed as global democratic values. The announcement immediately raised questions about the future of the US-South Africa relationship. Diplomats and political analysts began to speculate on the potential repercussions of this decision. It also sparked concerns about the impact on various sectors in South Africa that rely on US funding. The healthcare and education sectors, in particular, were highlighted as areas that could face significant challenges. The international community awaited further clarification and potential diplomatic fallout from this unprecedented decision. Many countries expressed their concern and called for a detailed explanation from the US administration. The world watched closely as the situation unfolded, wondering what the next steps would be and how this would affect global geopolitics. The United States has a long history of providing aid to South Africa. This aid dates back to the post-apartheid era, beginning in the early 1990s. The US played a significant role in supporting South Africa's transition to democracy. It poured resources into programs promoting economic development, healthcare, and education. In recent years, US aid to South Africa has remained substantial. In 2024 alone, the US committed $323.4 million in assistance. These funds were directed toward various initiatives. These included HIV/AIDS prevention and treatment, support for democratic institutions, and economic empowerment programs. A particularly controversial aspect of Trump's announcement was the offer of expedited U.S. citizenship for South African farmers and their families. Trump cited concerns for their safety and well-being as justification for this offer. This move has been interpreted by some as a response to ongoing tensions over land reform in South Africa. The South African government condemned Trump's offer. They viewed it as an interference in their domestic affairs. The immediate impacts of Trump's decision are still unfolding. However, several key areas are likely to be affected. NGOs and civil society organizations that rely on U.S. funding face significant challenges. Programs addressing HIV/AIDS, healthcare, and education are particularly vulnerable. The South African government is now tasked with finding alternative sources of funding to fill the gap. This comes at a time when the country is already facing economic headwinds. The long-term consequences for South Africa's development trajectory remain uncertain. Trump's decision has undoubtedly strained relations between the United States and South Africa. The abrupt nature of the announcement and the lack of prior consultation have angered South African officials. They view it as a sign of disrespect and a betrayal of the long-standing partnership between the two nations. The future of diplomatic relations between the two countries hangs in the balance. It remains to be seen whether the Biden administration will attempt to repair the damage. Rebuilding trust will require careful diplomacy and a renewed commitment to engagement. The international community has expressed deep concern over Trump's decision. The European Union, a major donor to South Africa, has criticized the move. They emphasize the importance of continued international support for the country's development. The African Union has also condemned the decision. They view it as a setback for regional stability and prosperity. The abrupt withdrawal of U.S. funding has raised concerns about the potential for similar actions in other parts of the world. Trump's decision to cut off funding to South Africa is not without precedent. Historically, the United States has often used foreign aid as a strategic tool to influence other nations' policies and actions. This tactic has been employed by various administrations, each with its own set of political objectives and international challenges. The United States has a history of using foreign aid as a political tool. This approach dates back decades and has been a cornerstone of American foreign policy. By providing or withholding aid, the U.S. has sought to promote democracy, human rights, and economic development, while also advancing its own strategic interests. In the 1980s, the Reagan administration cut off aid to several countries in southern Africa. This decision was part of a broader strategy to combat the spread of communism and to support anti-communist movements around the world. The Reagan administration believed that by cutting off aid, they could weaken the influence of pro-communist factions and bolster the efforts of those fighting for freedom and democracy. This was done in response to their support for liberation movements opposing apartheid rule. The U.S. aimed to pressure these governments to distance themselves from the apartheid regime in South Africa and to support the global movement against racial segregation and oppression. The move was controversial, sparking debates about the ethics and effectiveness of using aid as a political weapon. More recently, the Trump administration also cut aid to several Central American countries. This decision was driven by a desire to curb illegal immigration and to compel these nations to take stronger actions to prevent their citizens from migrating to the United States. The administration argued that by withholding aid, they could incentivize these countries to improve their domestic conditions and reduce the push factors driving migration. This was done in an effort to pressure them to stem the flow of migrants to the United States. The policy was met with mixed reactions, with some praising it as a necessary measure to protect U.S. borders, while others criticized it as punitive and counterproductive. The debate highlighted the complexities of using foreign aid as a tool for achieving domestic policy goals. These past actions highlight the potential for foreign aid to be used as leverage in pursuit of political objectives. Whether aimed at promoting democracy, combating communism, or addressing migration, the use of aid as a political instrument reflects the broader strategic calculations of U.S. foreign policy. As history shows, the consequences of such decisions can be far-reaching, affecting not only the recipient countries but also the global perception of American values and intentions. The situation in South Africa underscores the vital role that foreign aid plays in supporting developing countries. Aid provides a lifeline for millions of people around the world. It helps to improve health outcomes, expand access to education, and promote economic growth. While foreign aid is not without its critics, its impact on improving lives is undeniable. The withdrawal of U.S. funding to South Africa serves as a stark reminder of the importance of continued international cooperation and support for those in need. The full ramifications of Trump's decision to cut off funding to South Africa are yet to be fully understood. This abrupt move has sent shockwaves through both political and economic spheres, leaving many to speculate on the long-term impacts. Analysts are scrambling to predict how this will affect not only South Africa, but also the broader geopolitical landscape. The decision has been met with a mix of disbelief and concern as stakeholders from various sectors try to make sense of the new reality.